All right, let's talk more about this. Gary B. Smith joins us, Cadena Group President, Fox Business contributor, and Lindsey Bell is here as well, CFRA analyst. Lindsey, let's start with the question everybody wants to know the answer to first. What Susan brought up there at the end is slowest growth in 30 years from the Chinese. Does that put them in let's make a deal mode on trade, do you think?
I definitely think it certainly helps the Trump administration's positioning in these negotiations for sure. I mean, last week, in addition to the Bloomberg News article about $1 trillion worth of spending in both goods and services from China, you also heard at the end of the week them start to talk about investment plans to also help the U.S. with those IP thefts and prevent that, and also support businesses operating in China from foreign countries. So China knows that that's the big sticking issue for the Trump administration, and it seems like they're getting ready to discuss that.
I guess the risk, though, Gary, is that the Chinese kind of continue to do more of what they've already started to do. That's stimulate their own economy. They haven't really gone all in with that yet. As Susan said, they've started to apply some measures of stimulus. They could do more of that, theoretically buying themselves some time. In the meantime, the global economy is slowing, and that hurts us as well. So it'll be interesting to see how they play this. What do you think?
Yeah, it's interesting you bring that up, Connell, because that was going to be my exact point that, China is much more centrally planned. They've become more capitalistic over the years, but they're still a lot more centrally planned than the U.S. And we've seen the problems here in the U.S. when the Fed or the Treasury Department or whatever tries to, in effect, centrally plan the economy. It's impossible to do. There's not enough brain power in the world to predict what people want, what people don't want. So to your point, when I see the government there in China is going to become even more involved stimulating the economy, I think, oh, my gosh, they're going down a rocky road. Just pure capitalism, free market is the way to get them out of this, not this pulling, ropes and levers and pulleys. I think that's going to be a very difficult solution. We've seen that in Japan over the past 30 years or so, trying to manage their economy that way.
It's gone on forever that way. Now, to talk about another issue from overseas with you guys, in Great Britain, determined to deliver the will of the people, the Prime Minister, Theresa May, revealing what's being characterized as a Plan B for Brexit to lawmakers today, warning of a destructive impact of a possible second referendum. Let's take a listen.
I fear a second referendum would set a difficult precedent that could have significant implications for how we handle referendums in this country, not least strengthening the hand of those campaigning to break up our United Kingdom.
All right, the Prime Minister went on to say she could continue to meet with lawmakers, would be more open to Parliament about the next stage of the process. But this idea, Gary, maybe it doesn't go to a second referendum, as you heard her talk about there. But the criticism of her Plan B today at a number of different places, without getting into all the details of it, was it wasn't really that much different to what Plan A was. So it doesn't, look great for her, right? So you started to wonder, people have started to ask questions about whether Brexit really happens, or at least happens on time. What do you think?
Well, I think it almost has to happen. Here's the problem. People went to the polls in very much a binary mode. They say yes or no to Brexit.
Right.
And yet the Parliament, both parties never put up a this is what it means kind of thing. And they're still trying to hash that out. Now, the one thing is this visions of catastrophe,
right, on a hard deal.
London falling into ruin, I think are wildly overblown.
Right. That's the idea that if they don't have a deal in place, it's just going to be a real mess economically in terms of ships getting stopped at the ports and banks leaving London, all that kind of thing. Now, you may be right. It may be overblown, but does it happen? Lindsey, what do you think happens next year?
Yeah, I mean, I think it seems to me really like Parliament wants to get their hand in on the deal here, and they want to kind of take control of the process. You heard May say today she does not want to extend the negotiating period here, but it seems like Parliament is going to submit some legislation to try to push that negotiating timetable down. They're supposed to leave the EU by the end of March.
Right.
There are a lot of details that need to be figured out here, and it seems like more time could be really needed.
Yeah, an extension possibly. Gary and Lindsey, thanks to you both. We appreciate it.